Okay, it's been a little while. We're going to get back to the Shogun. Next thing I think we're going to do is put the wheels in, stem in, maybe put a brake on, saddle, pedals, chain. Not a lot to a single speed. Now this is a conversion. In the last video, we polished the parts, put them on. The video before that, we respaced and aligned the frame and fork, make sure they're square. I want to see if these little dropout adjuster dudes are frozen or not. Because it'd be cool if they were usable. Hey, that one twists and turns, no problem. I'm going to mostly out of the way. Might take them all the way out. So we set the chain up. We're going to set the chain up with the wheel in all the way forward, and then pull it back to get it tight. So we need some room to be able to pull it back. Yeah, this one's free too. If they're not free, you can snap them off, grab some needle nose pliers and break them off. You can try and get them free, but sometimes that's impossible. Snapping them off and leaving the broken chunks in the frame is fine. You don't need them for anything. They're just about making wheel alignment faster on a race bike on the side of the road. So we have the wheels. They have some old 700 by 23 tires that came on them. They're probably fine-ish, but hopefully I can find something bigger and nicer that'll fit. So put the front wheel in, bolt on track axles, or fixed geary stuff. It's usually a lot trickier. You hold it all the way up, the fork's been aligned, the wheel and tire sit straight in there. Try and snug it down with my fingers, but these nutted axles always walk and move. So really you got to put it on the ground, put all your weight down on the bar and stem on the top of the bike to make sure the wheel's sitting there straight, and then you can kind of tighten it up. But just in case I forget that step till later, we'll try and cinch it up a little bit, and it's pretty close to straight, but hell, it's not actually straight. Close enough for now. You can see there's a bunch of room in here. There's a very good chance we can fit a much bigger tire, 28, maybe even a 32, that'd be exciting. On the back, same thing, it's a 723, in pretty decent shape. It's already got a big fixed gear cog on it. We can probably put a freewheel on. Let's build it fixed for now. We can always add a freewheel later. The 23 is pretty tight. It's touching the bridge down here, but it still slides right up past this dropout. So we could probably go 25 and be able to slide it in. If we did 28, we probably have to push it real hard to slide it in. If we go 32, we'll probably have to let the air out of the tire. Push most of it out to get it in. Like I said, we're going to put it kind of right at the front of the dropouts. We'll try and cut that chain. Just finger tight. Coming in, looking down here, and there's tons of room for 23. There's more than a 1/4 inch on both sides between the tire clearance and the stays. So yeah, I mean, 28, maybe even a 32 would fit fine as long as we don't want to do fenders. If we do want to do fenders, a 23 or 25 is probably tops. Or 28 with sketchy zero fender clearance. People like to do it. You'll get rocks and pine needles caught up there all the time, and it'll drive you crazy. So we'll just cinch this down for now, even though we're going to move it. I just don't want it to fall around, or if I do forget and test ride it or something, I don't want it to kill me. Pretty easy to change. And I did go and dig through all of my bars and stems, trying to figure out what I want to put on here. Here's a not cool, but it's alloy and it's polished, so it's real bright. Like Callaway slight riser bars, very fixie, very kind of cool. And an old Nitto stem, just like an old one. The bottom bolt, the Nitto Youngs. No one cares about these. Try to sell it for a couple times on eBay for like 25 bucks. No one cares, so it'll bling up this bike a little bit. Cool. Guess we should do the chain, and then we'll see if we're gonna do front and rear brake, single speed style, just front brake, fixed gear style. Sort of look and see what I have and what fits, and if I care. Leaving it at a fixed gear is totally cool, but it's easier to sell if it's a single speed. And we'll dig through my crappy saddles and see what's the coolest thing for this. Now these wheels came to me on a track frame. I already got this big cog, and it already had this brand new like ACS Crossfire chain, which would probably be too short, but we're going with such a smaller ring, it might fit. So let's cross our fingers and see I think the the track frame had like a 46 or something, just absurd. FU giant cog. And look at that. Chain is not only plenty long, it is too long, which is one of those good problems. So I'm going to take one inner and one outer link off the chain, leaving it just a little bit too long, and it should be able to slide back in that dropout, no problemo. Handy dandy chain tool, one inner, one outer. I like to try and be careful whenever I remove a link. It's good practice, and also, you know, you might realize you made a mistake and need to put it back in. So this is what I like to do. I like to push the pin all the way out so there's a little teeny bit, this is almost not even enough, just like a millimeter or two sticking through still. So if you put it back on, it's enough to catch the link. And then you can come around the other side with the tool and push it back through because it'll already be lined up on the inside. That's the plan, in theory. I also like to put it on, you can see this pin sticking out towards me, so I don't have to fight from the inside when I push it through. And yeah, it's like 2 millimeters sticking in here, so I should be able just to clip, wiggle, pinch in, easy peasy. Now we're on the right side, I can spin this guy all the way back out and push it in. Make sure it lines up. If it feels real tight or horrible, you might be breaking something, back it off, recenter it, try it again. It's all the way through. Try and make it sticking out about the same amount as the rest of these pins, so just like millimeter. Look at the other side. Oh, it's about the same on both sides. Both sides sticking out about a millimeter, so it means it's going to be real tight. So now we gotta work at, you drop some lube on here, wiggle it back and forth. They say never to wiggle side to side. I always wiggle side to side and never to chain break. It's like the only way to get these things to stop being the tight link. Don't want a tight link and a chain. Now we're going to pull the wheel all the way back. So loosen it again. And I remember when I first started doing bikes and single speeds, this was impossible. Get this wheel in straight, I just drove myself crazy. I like to pull it all the way back. You can do it with one hand. Usually do it with both hands on the nuts. Line it up down here so you're looking to make sure the tire is about equal distance from the inside of the stay on both sides. And then kind of tighten it up a little bit. Kind of tighten it up a little bit. Pull it back. Tighten it up just a little bit. If you go too far, the whole thing will just move. Tighten up a little bit. Tighten up a little bit. Tighten up a little bit. Now the real trick on single speeds and fixed here is chain tension. You see how it's deflecting? About a ½ inch. That's really what you want. Looser, looser, looser. Whoa, really loose. Pretty tight. So we lucked out. It was about where the crank was aiming. That's about the tightest spot. If you find any spot that's tighter than about a ½ inch deflection, you need to leave that spot, find the tightest spot, leave it there, and readjust this chain. You need that deflection. People want their chains super tight. You don't want that. All it does is dig in and destroy your chain ring. You need that super loose is how actual track racers race them, just like crazy loose. Slightly bigger chance of the chains popping off. I've never had one pop off. I've seen people run them just sagging loose. You can just see the chain make a smiley face. They don't pop off, even when they're hitting big hills and stuff, which is just crazy. So a little bit loose. Cinching this bad boy back up. And eventually, like I said, we'll probably get better tires. It's fixed gear, so I'm going to skid through this one first. But I won't, because I'm old. These are some pedals I bought at that big garage sale, bike garage sale thing. There's some cool MKS double-sided touring flat pedals. They're all silver. They're kind of high-end. They're a little too scruffy to even try and bother and sell, so going on a used bike is perfect. Now these pedals, like many pedals, have this hard square edge from the wrench flats. They do make pedal washers you can put on here so they don't dig in. I do not know if I have any. Huh. What do you know? I have exactly one pair of pedal washers left. I should probably save them for something, but I'll probably order more. I don't want to. So these pedal washers are weird thin washers. Go right on over, and they keep your pedal from digging into your cranks. We just polish these cranks. They're all nice and smooth. Sanded them all out. big giant fight. Always grease, and pedals are right and left hand thread. These have a big R on them. So we can look at the pitch of the threads, see if it's going right or if it's going left. Make sure they're going pretty smooth. They're going kind of smooth. Sometimes you can just spin them. These aren't that smooth. Left hand one I also greased up. Left hand's reverse thread. Since I've been righty-tighty, it's lefty-tighty. Now remember when you're messing around with fixed gears, if that chain is attached in the back wheel of these cranks, nothing's stopping it, including your fingers. I've seen people put their fingers right in here trying to adjust things and cut almost all the way through their finger to the bone. Do not do this. Do not do this. All inertia. And it's made to carry your heavy butt up a hill, so it is a lot stronger than you think. You will not stop it with your hands. Get excess grease off, because I hate it. So since this is a fixed gear, we will have to use some toe cages. Oh, boy, there were some toe cages at that swap I did not grab. So I'm like, whoever uses toe cages? I have some brand new ones that are on eBay that no one cares about. They're my size, maybe they'll go on. I was going to use, I have some pink straps, but they need a different style pedal. So maybe these won't be the pedals after all. We'll play with it and see. I'm going to grab a saddle. So I grabbed this All City saddle. It's a little bit modern and racy. It's a little bit vintagey with the chrome rails. It's got an All City logo on it, whatever. I was trying to sell on eBay, no one cared. All City was like the hot thing for a while, and then it wasn't. Everyone had to rush it out and sell their super overpriced All City Nature Boys to try and buy their super overpriced crust bikes, because people are only into what they're told to be into. It's very sad. Unlike me and my sick vintage medium end bike obsession, which no one else cares about, but is totally cool, I swear. So I'm just kind of lining it up, centering on there, and guesstimating with that top tube. It's about level, but we can always change it. I could put something real vintagey on, but my poor old man butt is just not into it lately. Now we've got to figure out what we're going to do for brake levers and brakes. So this is also off that track bike. I wonder if it'll fit. This is not recessed. So we gotta dig around. I don't have a lot of not recessed brakes. This isn't too long. Let's play around with some stuff. Like every brake I have is recessed, which is hilarious for somebody who likes to only deal with old bikes which are mostly non-recessed. I'm gonna check some stuff out, try and get an idea of what'll fit. So these Nash bar brakes. And they will reach all the way down. There's enough rim showing. These Nash bar brakes will reach. So the trick is I either have to go try and find some, I think they're just regular short reach, which is cool, makes life a little easier. Go find some regular short reach brakes and nutted, or we can drill the backside of this fork crown and make this a recessed brake. It's a little trickier on the back if you have a real short drill and stuff, but it's kind of dumb. So what I'll often do if I do something like that is put the front on the back, because then you can get a nut on it. Put the back on the front with a drill hole, and you can use a really long recessed nut. And you can make a set of recessed brakes fit an old frame. It's a real common trick, and we may or may not be doing that. Or we could just drill this crown out. Probably just use this old setup. Be a lot cheaper and easier. I'd probably put new cable and housing. These pads are like brand new if they're not super hard. They're not hard. What do we think? Should we drill this out? Or should we go futz around and waste a bunch of time digging around trying to find a old nutted brake set, which we probably wouldn't be happy with no matter what. What a trip. Let's drill this out. I mean, we can always do another one again after we drill it out. It doesn't matter. You can just put a little washer on the back or a spacer. Like 3 seconds, big chunks shooting off, in and out. Of course, I should have removed the wheel, and not to get grease all over it. And degrease that rim. Now I can just install this brake like it's any old brake. See if this one's long enough with the pads all the way down. Ooh. God, not really. Wah, wah. So for us, why is every single brake way too long or way too short? Slightly too short, slightly too long. Stupid road bikes. Okay, took a little break, cool down, sit down, sanded the old stock brake pads that are on this brake because they're still good. Took a little file, a little chainsaw file, which are very cheap and easy to get. Filed, cleaned it up, making them a little even with a slightly bigger one, which is harder to use. And lowered these pads. I didn't make them too thin, they're still several millimeters. You know, at the bottom, they were just like thicker than this at the bottom. It's made them about the same. And now the pads come low enough and hit just fine. So we're going to use this front brake. And this is nice because it's all silver. It came for free on that old track bike I bought. And it's a single. I'm also going to go ahead and use this Tektro. It's a single left, which people like for fixed gears for some reason. I do not know why. Because right's rear, left's front. I really like having it on the right, and I often do on my own bikes, so they can signal while braking. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go single left because it's a mismatched single. It's got that garage sale for $5 the other day or whatever. And it's all silver. It's going to look good, man. So really, put the cable and housing on, do our double checks, take this thing for a test ride. I do have a little beat up old silver walt basket. Maybe it needs a basket. I mean, putting accessories on a bike you build is always a money loser. People do not want it, they want to do that themselves. Bikes look sexier without racks and baskets and bags and blah blah blah. The first thing every shop does when they get a bike donated is pull that stuff off before they try and sell it. And they sell that stuff separately to make more money. Makes the bike prettier and for sale for more, and they'll buy the stuff right back from you. Sometimes the exact same stuff that was on the bike before, which is often hilarious. I'm just gonna gently snug this butt up for a minute. I saved a few old front stainless brake cables that were barely used in perfect shape. We've got free brake cable. Got some housing. I got this fun kind of sparkly purple. I don't know, I think maybe too much. Got some white. Well, it kind of matched the rim. That might actually tie it all together. And I got some old-fashioned braided silver. I'm not feeling it. Then we got some plain silver, which I already love, which I think matches the logos. Silver, silver, silver. It's pretty badass. But God, the white. Tie it together, these ugly white wheels. There's a little white in the logos. A little white on the saddle. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm saying white. We got my little kit, little ferrules and cable ends. I always poke these cables, don't put them up, really look at the ends, real jagged and sticking up. This one's real jagged and sticking up. See if we can make it a little bit better with these side cutters. File them nice and flat. If they're not flat, they're gonna poke through and mushroom your ferrule. It'll just feel like your cable's stretching over and over and over again. Your brakes look mushy and weird. The extra fine file is really nice for this. It seems like it goes slower, but it goes faster. Less resistance. Make sure it's open. Grab a couple of ferrules. Now I cut this housing pretty short You can see it's a barely bending, arcing line going pretty straight right out of here. You really want to come straight for an inch or two. If you cut it longer, then it's going to like come way out and come back in, adding tension. And I kind of want it as short as possible because the stem's all the way up. People might slam the stem. I don't want the housing to get way too long. This style Tektro brake takes a road cable, the little mushroom ferrule instead of like the little barrel ferrule. Come on. Come on, bud. Line up. There we go. Squeeze the brake together. Cheap, shitty brake. There we go. Now it's smashing the cable. Junk. Tight. I'm going to roll the barrel adjuster down if we want a little more sloppy. And honestly, the longer the throw, the more squishy it is, the better the brake stops. Roll it all the way down so we got plenty. Tight. Double check in the back. Cut the cable off. Leaving a few inches to grab onto in case we need to adjust. Pinchy pinchies. Yeah, one good squeeze. Gotta figure out grips, gotta figure out toe cages. Finish double checks, test ride. So I got a few grip options. I got some sort of thin, almost like old track ones, but they're too long for these bars with the brake lever. I do have some clear, white, really more clear Oris, very popular with fixed gear kids for a while, like BMXy lovers. I do not like Oris, they feel too fat in my hands. Most people love them. So it'd be kind of cool. I got some black lock-on grips. These would be the fastest and easiest. Some white grips would be cool. Some white Oris or something. Maybe I should just put these on temporary. I think we'll go down. I like a little bit of space. These back a little bit. Just so they're close, not be perfect. No one's gonna get a ruler on here and check. Let's tighten down this lock. It's the only thing that holds the grips on. Seems crazy to me, but guys swear by them for not moving. Sick. So I have some flat pedals with some black plastic toe cages. I got some ugly old city bikey pedals, too not fixed geary. I got these hot pink Welgo straps, but I'm like, oh, I don't have any pedals to work on. They almost look like they'll work on these, I don't think they will. You need like a BMXy style platform. And I'm definitely going to scuff up the crank. I definitely have this ugly green on, but I could probably Sharpie that black. I do have a beater set of toe cages though. Just pop these guys on and suffer. Old rusty, crusty Cycle Pros. Hard to kick into on these pedals. But here they are. I know I got lots of toe straps. Like whatever, man. Getting real old school with this. I used to do this lots and lots and lots. So I went through my little hardware bin and I found, you know, little bolts, little nuts, little washers for the nut sides that don't bind up. I'm just going to throw these toe cages on and we're going to try it. Old school style. These pedals don't have a little lip on the back to kick into, so that's slightly dumb. But this is what we have and what we're working with. So we'll figure her out. These pedals are made for toe cages. They have like little holes and stuff to make life slightly less bad. Putting a nut in, dropping the washer on, threading the nut on. I have found from years of experience, like basically like my toe cages all the way out, or pretty much all the way out. So I'm just going to start there. I used to, for decades, only ride vintage bikes with vintage pedals and vintage toe cages, and it was real normal. I didn't switch to modern platforms until pretty recently. And I have to say they are better. They're so much more comfortable and so much easier to use. And well, 8mm little wrenchy poo. And it might just, nope, gotta hold it. hold the nut from the back side and turn on the front side, or you can hold the front side and turn the back side. I think it's recommended you turn the back side. Sometimes I'll get them tight and then turn. We also got to find some toe straps that don't totally suck. I find the nicest set I got, be the least annoying. Oh, I do have some brand new hot pink ones, but again, I think it'd be too much pink for the bike. And we're not going for new and spending money on this bike. We're building this bike out of basically all spare parts and stuff that came with other stuff, and stuff we don't care about. Could clean and polish these rusty old clips up, but like, whatever, man. So I dug around through all my toe straps and trying to find a matching set. I found one matching set, vintage GT Altera, cool old mountain bike stuff that's probably not actually that cool or old, but they are kind of old, so kind of thick. They don't twist super easy. New ones are all garbage, you don't use them. Really old ones, really thick ones, the ones you want, so they won't twist up when you try to kick your foot in and make it all of a sudden way too tight. So pull this front one through, leaving the buckle on the bottom. So it's really easy to get at, you can really easy to cinch up. I like to give them 1, 2, 3, 4 twisties. Really 2 is fine, but I like to make them as, I don't want them to move. They're nice and tight, they don't slide around, do weird stuff. To the top. Blow through, you can pull them tighter, it won't come out the other way. I like them pretty dang loose. I have to put real shoes on to ride, but I don't have skinny cycling shoes, so awkward. Same thing over here. Alright, man, on the ground. Double checks. Put it on the ground. Loosen this front wheel, which is still very loose. Pushing down, really center it. Just barely snug it up. Pushing down, just barely snug it up. And we can get tight. And with any luck, that's pretty centered. Doesn't feel centered, feels over this way. Brake looks over this way. Who knows? Who cares? It's barely off. Okay, I'm going to do the headset. So it was butter smooth. Still pretty smooth. I tightened it. It's not butter smooth, it's pretty smooth. It's a whole CRUSTY headset. Let's turn the bar sideways, grab the brake. See if you can feel any play. I can't. I'm going to say it's probably good enough. We'll check it after the test ride. Do want to put the seat down just a tad. We'll see if we can do it with a single tool. Feels that way. Just a tad. Looks pretty straight. You come from the front and line it up with your wheel and your stem and your top tube. Get it straight, but also most people actually like their seats a little bit crooked. I can't tighten it down because the nut on the other side is spinning. So we gotta two-tool it. Can't think of anything else. It's probably ready for a test ride. Oh, I guess we can look at the angle of that seat. That's a little down. It's a little nose down. I don't like it. If you're nose down at all, it's going to feel like you're on a water slide trying to slide forward. You put all your weight on your wrists. It's not comfortable. I like it to be a little bit lower. People always have jack way up and nose down. Drop it a whole bunch. Nose up like 1 degree so you can actually rest and have all your weight back here on your sit bones. Push it back here so you're not sitting on your soft bits. Try to sit here. If it's not comfortable enough, lower it more. Saddles are really counterintuitive. People always think, like, oh, it feels weird, therefore I need to raise it. Or, oh, it feels weird, therefore I need to do whatever. And you should always probably do the opposite of what your body's telling you. Your body's wrong. It's not a bike mechanic. There we go. Moving like 1 spot forward. That's probably pretty good. We'll give her a shot. And here it is, a little fixed gear, rusty, crusty Shogun. And really all that's left is to do a little test ride. See how cool that is. I just remember grocery outlets have all the popsicles I like. I'll probably do a little shorter one over to Safeway. Like 95 out. I get this really gross, stinky, old 80s handlebar bag. This sort of just clips around the stem. You gotta like fish it up and under and around. So right with this gross little dumb thing. Maybe. I do have this kind of rusty, crusty old. Let's take a look at this. Ugh. Should we do it? Should we do it? Second from the bottom. I just can't imagine not thinking we should do this. Gotta do some rusty crusting. A new basket, the stuff's not as bent out of shape. I think now they're making a big oversized bracket that kind of fits everything better and is way less terrible. Still. God damn, almost. Oh, haha. Haha. And like everything, these bolts are either way too long or way too short. Definitely not using lock nuts because the bolts stick out like a ½ inch too far. Use regular washers and just regular nuts will tighten them down. They probably won't come all the way loose and fall off. If they do, I'll stick a lock nut over them. Just gonna hold these nuts in the back, do some three-way action. And yeah, they stick out way too far. It's real dumb. Just do these one at a time. Maybe we'll recenter them once it's on the ground. Roll the track nut all the way off and see if we can get this to fit. Sometimes these stays will hit the fatness of the fork blade, the actual round part. This one looks like it'll clear just fine with a millimeter. If it didn't clear, I would take a file and trim some out and make it clear. Heck yeah. Hey, what do you know? Now we got a basket bike. Ooh, maybe we should put some water bottle bolts in just to make it look cooler. Yeah, I'm gonna clean up and take a test ride. All right, here it is, ready for his test ride. A fool for not bringing a 15mm wrench with me in case these wheels slip, but it's a pretty short walk. I'm gonna do one last thing, make sure these fat feet of mine fit in these toe cages, barely. Let's give myself all the room possible. All right, that'll do it. Woohoo, let's do it. Don't kill me, bike. I absolutely forgot the most important step, which is pumping these tires up there super low. Oh yeah, 40, not even. 23s, they really need to be 120. Good thing it's like 90 and sunny. Trying to make sure these snacks don't bounce out. So far, so good.